your seatbelt. It's going to be a bumpy ride.
Chrissie is hilarious.
Chrissie, have you ever heard of the comedian Basha K. Ali?
No, that sounds like something you yell out before you blow up a plane.
Basha K. Ali!
30 seconds remaining.
But you know what, Chrissie, to say I dabbled in stand-up or something, I haven't been disrespectful to you at all.
I was very confused by the title, Everything Everywhere All at Once, because that's also what we call it when Ash takes off his shirt. I shouldn't be up here. I should be in school on the other side of the ocean. Oh, hello, everyone. How are we doing today? Oh, my gosh, it's Saturday. Yes, we have it's Sunday. Welcome to a very special Chrissie Mayr podcast. You can listen to this podcast everywhere. Spotify, iTunes, SoundCloud. We're on YouTube, Rumble, Rockfin, Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it. Sometimes Instagram. So please like and subscribe. We have a very special guest today. I'm very, very excited that she's here because she's kind of part of some breaking news. She is an ambassador to the Riley Gaines Center at the Leadership Institute. She was also involved in kind of a viral attack this week from Antifa. So we're so happy she can join us today. Welcome to the show, Olivia Krolczyk.
Thank you so much for having me.
I am so happy you're here. How are you feeling? How are you doing? You've been doing a whirlwind interview tour. Everybody wants to talk to you. Quickly, just tell the people a little bit about your background, and then we'll get into what happened to you this past Tuesday.
Of course, yeah. So I actually joined the Riley Gaines Center about 1.5 years ago. At my University of Cincinnati, I was a chemistry major, and I had to take a DEI required course, Women's Gender Studies.
For chemistry?
Yeah, I was a chemistry major, and I was failed for using the term biological woman while writing about men and women's sports. I was told it was transphobic, contributed to heteronormativity, still don't know what that means to this day, and that I was a white supremacist for all this. So that's essentially how I got my foot into the political world and joined the Riley Gaines Center.
And this was while you were a student at
University of Cincinnati.
Okay, you went to Cincinnati. And you're trying to study chemistry, but they're like, no. And I remember this too. I was a communications major. I still had to have a bunch of other requirements. Like I remember I had to take an Asian religion course too. So sometimes with these schools, they like to throw in other useless courses to make you more well-rounded, I guess. But in your case, it was gender studies and you said, wow, and you're contributing to heteronormativity, which basically being straight kind of is the norm, and people get upset when you point that out. Like there's sheer, like the numbers don't lie. More people are straight than not straight, but they get triggered when you point that out. So how did you, I guess I want to know, how did you get introduced to Riley Gaines?
So when that story happened, I actually posted like a 20-second TikTok video of all platforms, TikTok. It gained like over 6 million views in a couple of days before it was taken down for hate speech. Apparently it's hateful to say that men can't be women. Riley saw it and she let me know that my story would not go unheard. She helped me get some interviews, and when she created the center, asked me to come on as an ambassador and share my story with students across the nation. Because not only are we advocating for the protection of women in women's sports, but also for free speech to be able to speak up and talk about these issues. So that's exactly why I was brought on, and it's been amazing since then.
Where is the center?
It's located in DC at the Leadership Institute.
Okay. And how long have you been, I guess, like working with her? More like, when did you guys finally connect? Like, how long have you been together?
I think it's been, honestly, happened the same week that all of this happened at Cincinnati. So about 1.5 years, I'd say.
Oh, wow. Okay. And so at what point did you think like, oh, I want to start maybe going to schools and giving speeches and connecting with students?
immediately. Although this was never what I planned for myself. I wanted to be a neuroscience I wanted to go into neuroscience,
Wow.
something like that. And so I never planned this for myself. But I knew that it was God's calling for me immediately when this happened. I just had like a moment. I was never a public speaker. I would still say I'm not a very good public speaker, but I'm learning. God equips the called, not calls the equipped. So I'm certainly getting my foot out the door trying to do this, but I think it's important to have someone go out and advocate for students and women. And it just happened to be me. And I knew it in that moment that it was what I was supposed to do.
How many schools have you spoken at so far?
Ooh, I don't know. I've been to a lot. I know I went to 31 states last year.
Oh, wow.
For a
Okay.
bunch of schools. So yeah, I've been all over the place for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, wow. So, and then this is an event that happened. Let me play the whole, let's see. I wonder which video is better to play right now. This is kind of an overview. This is from Frontlines Turning Point USA University, and this happened at the University of Washington. At UW has a history of silencing conservative voices on campus, and this past Tuesday was no different. Who's Cloche? Oh, Kosho. Oh, Jonathan Coe. Okay, and I guess is he doing okay, he's a reporter. He was on the ground when the TPUSA students event was canceled due to far left protesters threatening Speaker Olivia Krolczyk and attendees by breaking windows, setting off fire alarms, and banging doors to disrupt the event. UW released a statement essentially blaming Krolczyk for the disruption. She says she will come back to campus to speak and she will not be intimidated. I'm going to play this. This gives a little bit of an overview.
Chaos on campus. Do you want to go out and make an appearance?
No. Security, get the out of here.
Antifa militants and transgender activists tried to hijack a Turning Point USA event at the University of Washington. Don't touch me again. They broke windows, banged on doors, and pulled fire alarms numerous times in Thompson Hall, intimidating students to the point where they felt unsafe.
My first thoughts are to just keep praying and keep trusting God.
Even with multiple security guards and campus police in the room, organizers had no other choice but to cancel the event.
I would recommend not interacting with them because clearly they are very violent at this moment.
UW students are being escorted out by law enforcement due to the far left activists.
The protesters were targeting Olivia Krolczyk, a free speech advocate with the Riley Gaines Center.
Were you expecting this welcome?
I did not expect to see hundreds of people outside blocking out the road and pulling the fire alarm so that we can't even have an event.
Women are terrified to speak out.
She was planning on speaking about women's empowerment and the dangers of transgender ideology.
These protesters don't even want to listen to us. They don't even know how to combat what we are saying.
That last piece is what really riled up the crowd, made up of mostly non-students who were already amped up with it.
Wow, that's so interesting. So did you get the sense that most of did you see many of the protesters, or you just kind of heard the banging and you heard the alarms going off?
We saw them. When I first got to the building, they started to gather and like practice their dances and chants. I went out there because I was going to ask them like interview questions, but they declined. So of course I respected that. But we kind of hung out outside the building a little bit before it got unsafe. And there were hundreds of people. It was crazy. I couldn't even tell if they were students or not because they're all wearing masks, scarves, of course, to hide their identities, which is how we should have known they were going to be violent at some point.
At this point, yeah, you really can't say in 2025 you're worried about COVID anymore. Like that excuse is doesn't fly, and they look extra ridiculous to be showing up in masks. So these aren't even students of this particular school that are showing up to protest. These are not even University of Washington students. These are people who, I don't know, I guess random bored adults who should be working a job somewhere or being productive. But no, they're probably on some kind of like email blast. They get alerted to these events and then they just, show up and disrupt.
Well, there were certainly both. Like, I think there were people who weren't students, but also there were students because even ahead of time, I was getting tagged in posts on Instagram for like a couple different University of Washington LGBTQ groups, a queer whatever. Which, by the way, University of Washington was fully aware that these protests were going to take place because they offered counseling and safe spaces for these students because of the transphobic speaker coming to campus. So they were fully aware this was happening. So of course there were some students involved. I just can't tell you exactly what percent was students or not.
It's really sad that the school will allocate resources to offering safe spaces for someone like you who's going to come and speak at events. It's like, it's not enough just not to attend the event. You have to go to a safe space for the fact that you were even on campus. But how much resource did they dedicate? I mean, you can see that there are some security guards there. Thankfully, like, it didn't seem like you were physically attacked, or there were people there who had your back and who were able to, I guess, escort you out. Explain, about from how long did you start? Did you then have to call the event?
So at about 5:30 is when they started gathering out front. And at that point, it was a peaceful protest. I am all for free speech. You have the right to protest. Absolutely. I respect it. They were out there just dancing, holding their flyers, whatever. It was interesting to watch. Honestly, they weren't doing anything at that point. About maybe 10 to 5 minutes before the event started, Turning Point began to open the doors to allow students inside. But immediately the fire alarms were pulled. And all the doors, the exits and entrances were blocked off by these protesters. A couple of the students were inside who wanted to attend the event. The Turning Point students who were part of the group were already inside because they were helping with setting up. And then actually a couple of the protesters managed to weasel their way inside, which at first I didn't think they were protesters, but upon some sort of alarm, they actually released helium-filled balloons, which you can see in one of the videos, to the ceiling with the noisemaker on it. So,
my God.
Yeah, they were sneaky and then immediately ran outside. So yeah, it turned from a peaceful protest to violent in the matter of minutes.
All right, let me see the rest of this video.
Anger after President Trump made this announcement.
It will henceforth be the official policy of the United States government that there are only two genders, male and female.
The university sent out a statement that reads in part, informed discussion and debate are encouraged on campus. However, it is clear that presenters and disruptors are in some cases seeking to antagonize one another in ways that provide dramatic content for their social media feeds.
What a cop-out! There's always going to be conflict among groups of people who think differently. And I don't know, these comments just reek like an old person who's out of touch. Like, oh, sorry, I'm not going to, they're doing it for their social media. There's nothing we can do. So if you guys end up hurting each other, well, it's just content for your social media. How does that statement make you feel?
Honestly, very annoyed. Not surprised. University of Washington trying to blame it on me. Not surprised. It's a liberal school. Of course, they're gonna project it onto someone else rather than taking responsibility. But how am I out there trying to get dramatic social media content when people were? I don't know if you saw the video that I made a couple days ago, but students were making threatening videos about me that were Criminal Minds style before I got to campus. I wasn't posting videos like that. I wasn't telling students hey, let's go argue on campus or something. No, I just showed up. And as soon as I showed up on campus, there were flyers everywhere protesting my event, saying to get the transphobic bigot off of campus. So I was not there for social media content, and I certainly was not being dramatic when windows were broken, alarms were being pulled, people were banging on the doors, yelling to come inside. And when the police officers that were in the building with me felt the need to, first of all, cancel the event because it was too violent, but also dress me in police gear to escort me out of the building, I don't think I'm the one who's being dramatic. I think I was just, showing exactly what happened. And of course, the University of Washington doesn't want to make it seem as big of a deal as it was.
Right. You're not going around, making these protesters show up. You're not filming it because you want to put this online. I'm sure you're filming it in part for your own safety in case something does happen. You can have proof of.
Yeah, that's exactly why. Actually, when it started happening, when it started to get kind of bad, that's exactly why I went on an Instagram live stream, just so there was some sort of record of what was happening. Because at that point, I was pretty nervous. I hate to say it, I was a little bit nervous. So I started recording just so that someone knew something about what was going on, because I was nervous if I just started a normal recording, like I wouldn't, it would turn off, or my phone was about to die, and I was just like, I need to get there somehow. So I'm thankful that I did that, because clearly it helped show how big of a deal this really was.
And so it was one of the security guards or one of the police officers who decided to call the event?
Yeah. So it's kind of like in conjunction with Turning Point. I mean, we couldn't even hear. The alarms were so loud, the noisemakers, when they're banging on the doors the entire time, you can't really say anything. We couldn't have an event. We just literally could not. And it was starting to get too violent. I mean, they were breaking windows, for crying out loud. So yeah, we decided it was too violent to continue. So, and of course I was very adamant, very persistent in wanting to get my message out there. So
yeah,
for like 10 minutes, I was like, no, I want to keep going. But then it was like, okay, we need a plan to get out of here. So yeah,
see if that is covered in the rest of this video. Hold on.
They're essentially kidnapped inside of the building.
Krolczyk took to social media to say UW is victim blaming.
University of Washington knew about this event. They knew that there were going to be protests and rallies. They even are hosting a safe space because of the transphobic speaker.
And showed no evidence of these allegations against her.
The University of Washington did not support free speech tonight.
I don't think it's okay to rob a grocery store if you're hungry.
TPUSA is used to courting controversy for sharing conservative opinions on mostly liberal campuses. Last year, Antifa also tried to disrupt a Charlie Kirk speaking engagement at the height of pro-Hamas protests, where outside agitators and students set up tents in the quad for weeks.
It's a whole new era at the White House.
Kirk is now bringing attention to this latest debacle, implying President Trump should cut federal funding to the school if any student's freedom of expression or right to free speech was violated.
Donald Trump's use of the phrase enemies from within.
Others are now asking Washington Governor Bob Ferguson's new anti-hate task force to investigate, and at the very least, document this incident of far-left extremism. Krolczyk says she will eventually return to campus,
Eliminating DEI in our classrooms,
and share her powerful message,
protection of women in women's sports,
preferably without the violence and intimidation.
Olivia, you doing okay?
Out there, the Rally Game Center will not be shut down. Turning Point will not get shut down.
Did you have any, like when you go to these events, do you have any security with you?
So we typically have like private security that travels with us.
Okay, good.
The specific event, we certainly did not think it would be needed. I typically don't have that large of a showing. For Riley, it's obviously a lot different. She's very well known. So for me, it didn't seem necessary. Of course, we had campus security and a couple private security guards, but obviously it was not enough. We were outnumbered, 10 security officers to 200 plus protesters, and violent protesters at that. So I do applaud security for doing what they could in the moment for getting me and the other students home safely. However, no arrests have been made, which is crazy. I mean, there were threats, there was breaking of windows, fire alarms were pulled, wasting the fire department's time. So I certainly think there should be something done there. I'm obviously going to be looking into legal action of sorts, which of course I will give you more information when I decide on what I'm going to do. But the University of Washington will not get away with this, to say the least. Even getting my out there shows, the effects that they're already having on campus. A lot of people have told me they have pulled their funding or their donations to the schools.
Good.
Making an impact for sure.
Good. Wow. And this is the video you made, which shows some of the threatening, I guess, flyers you saw leading up to this event. Let's see here. Let me play this.
The University of Washington is trying to claim that I arrived on campus with the intent to cause problems and antagonize the other side. However, this is what the other side was posting in the days leading up to me arriving on campus, and University of Washington was aware because the Turning Point chapter sent them this information.
Anonymous call to action, white nationalist hate group TPUSA. Wow. And the University of Washington are hosting a hate rally featured. This is so funny. They always use the same words. A couple of years ago, people tried to get a comedy show of mine canceled, and they said that they called it a hate rally.
They have very limited vocabulary.
Hate rally featuring right-wing extremist speaker Olivia Krolczyk. UW has a long history of hosting violent hate rallies like this that put students in danger. Please! Oh my God. Fascist terrorists shot someone at a similar rally in 2017. Bring friends, noisemakers, and signs. We protect us. Mask up. Oof. January 21st, 5:30. Event starts at 6. Thompson Hall, University of Washington, in so-called Seattle, Washington.
It's weird because I don't remember making a video like that and posting it about the students at UWash. And I don't think me just showing up on campus is antagonizing anyone. And I certainly wasn't there with the intent to provide dramatic social media content when this is what happened to me on campus.
Wow. Okay, so that's something that they snuck in with these balloons that had a noisemaker on them. Did you see these people come in with the balloons and think like, what the hell is that for?
I saw the balloons, but they said like MAGA on them and like.
Of course.
Like it wasn't like, honestly, I was so bamboozled the whole evening. I didn't even like think to question them, honestly.
Yeah.
But
yeah, because you're not expecting people. You just don't think of this unless you're the kind of dirtbag that's like, oh yeah, we'll bring in a noisemaker and attach helium balloons to it.
Honestly, that's a lot of effort to put into protesting my event. So I'm honored that they went through all the trouble and spent the money on helium balloons and a noisemaker. Like, okay.
Yeah. Now you're like, I have to carry what a slingshot with me, a BB gun to some kind of balloon popping device. Now you know for the future. Wow. Or just get like a stick with a point on the end of it. This is insane though.
I think one of the officers like ended up jumping up and getting it down for us.
And this was, I guess they had smashed open a window and put another noisemaker inside the room.
Yeah.
That this cop found. And then he stopped it. Wow. So how much of your speech were you actually even able to get out before the...
Like, literally none of it. I don't even know if I got introduced. I think the students were like ready to introduce me, and every single time they were about to, something else happened. I was like, are you kidding me? And when we were finally all settled down, we were going to start again. They pulled the fire alarm, of course, for like the third time that night. So yeah, so I got my speech done, unfortunately. I do apologize to the students there who wanted to hear my speech, but I will be back certainly at some point with more security to give my speech. I do feel bad for the Turning Point group there though, because they don't have a huge group, but some of the kids on campus who showed up to the event were like on the fence about joining. I don't think they're going to want to be a part of the group anymore, knowing what comes with it, the backlash that they're going to face. So I feel really bad. But that's just something conservatives as a whole we face, the censorship, the backlash, and not everyone can take it, unfortunately.
I didn't even think about that. You think like, oh, these Antifa people or people with like no lives, no jobs, they show up to intimidate you, but you're fine. You're confident. Like you don't go to this college. You're not going to be seeing these people, those that are students. You're not going to be bumping into those people on campus. It's the people who are like curious and quietly looking to join Turning Point or find like-minded students, make connections. Those are the ones that are truly going to be intimidated and less likely, because they have to see these people on campus in and out of class. And
I expect this backlash. I mean, this is what I do for a living. I get backlash every single day, threats every single day, my address release. I'm used to this. I expect it. Not to that degree, of course, but I can handle it. Even one of the students in the video, you heard him say like he was just praying to God and he knew that he would be okay because of God. That's horrifying to think of what these students were thinking. They're essentially trapped in a room with me, with people probably wanting to violently hurt them.
Mm-hmm.
They don't know if they're going to make it out. I, at one point, didn't know if I was going to make it out. But yeah, it's terrifying for those students. A lot of students were, very shaken up, I could tell, and I felt horribly for them.
And where's their counseling? Where's their safe space to deal with having their event attacked? And
the school has yet to reach out to them and ask them if they've made it home safely or if they're okay, but did not hesitate to offer more counseling for the students who are, triggered by me being on campus. So that just shows University of Washington's, their end goal is just to support the liberals on campus. But like I said, we will make sure that University of Washington is in some way known to the world that they do not support free speech. Donald Trump signed the executive order that public universities must protect and promote free speech, or else they will have their funding removed. That's our end goal here, to make sure that happens, because they certainly do not support free speech.
Wouldn't that be great if because of this they took away their funding, their government funding? That would be so exciting, because there's never any there's no accountability. There are never repercussions for this, not for the students, not for the schools who condone it. So
And I mean, the University of Washington has a history of doing this. Like they said in one of those videos, they did it to Charlie Kirk. They do it to Jonathan every time, the frontline reporter, every time he's on campus. They violently attack him and nothing is ever done about it. So I think this is where we make them a lesson.
Wow.
To support and promote free speech on your campus, or else.
Yeah, and Charlie, I've seen he's done his events. He's out in the open. He's in the middle of campus, it looks like. Whereas you're tucked away. You're in a classroom. Like there's even more of an argument there. Like you're not trying to bother any students publicly. It's like they have to go out of their way to find your room where you're at and bother you. It's like
and it's
really
crazy
insane.
because like this isn't even a unique situation. This happened to Riley herself at San Francisco State like 2 years ago. She was held hostage in a room by protesters. She had to negotiate a price per person to get out. I think it was like $10 a head to get out of the room, which is crazy that it's not like it didn't just happen to me. And not only that, but it's happened to me twice, essentially, the censorship. Because at University of Cincinnati, I was failed for saying biological woman, not even being allowed to talk about this. So this isn't even the first time it's happened to me where I couldn't speak the truth. And this is happening across the nation. I just happen to be very vocal about it, which is a problem. We don't have a lot of people who are vocal about these situations happening to them, which is what we need to start doing so that we can enforce these new laws and regulations that Trump is putting into place.
You're amazing. I don't even think that I had as much confidence and like I mean, you just graduated college like less than a year ago. And you're very ballsy to do this work, and because you're basically still college age. Like I consider you're
I'm 21.
Yeah, you're like, you could have been left back a couple times. No. So I just think it's really amazing what you're doing, and how you don't seem at all scared of them or fazed by it. It's like, I think that they're all talk, and these people are kind of very insecure, and oftentimes when they are asked to explain their position, they can't,
Yeah. That's the thing. They don't even have a way to combat what we're saying. So they just shut us down so that they don't have to worry about responding to us. But that being said, we have so much more to do, because in reality, if Trump is signing all these orders and stuff and we don't actually enforce them, then it's no good. So we certainly have to look at that and make sure that something's actually being done. But like I said, the fight is far from over. We have to make sure that men actually aren't competing in women's sports, and when they are, we're enforcing it. We have to make sure that we actually do have free speech. And it would be great if we can have free speech on social media platforms too, because I have been banned 7 times now on TikTok for saying that doing for hate speech. So that's another thing that I hope we can, fix in the next coming weeks, honestly, because I'm tired of getting banned.
You've been banned 7 times on TikTok. How did you get unbanned? Does a certain amount of time pass and
you just like get your account removed, which sucks because you're trying to build followers up every single time.
Right.
So I'm on my 8th account, but I just got another violation yesterday. So we'll see.
For saying what?
I think, what did I say? It was one of my You Wash videos. Like I just said, like they don't support free speech. I can't even say that a man can't be a woman on campus. And it was for hate speech. Of course, I should have known. But on Instagram, it says I'm like on my 3rd strike or something, and my account can't be shown to non-followers. All this stuff. It's crazy. All these social media platforms, they control what we can and cannot say.
That is really insane.
The only one that I haven't been fully banned on yet. I did get like some sort of warning because I said something stupid one day, but still, it's
okay. It seems like you're getting banned for saying very having very ordinary takes.
That's the thing. Everything I say is so simple and ordinary. A lot of people say, "Oh, you're so brave." Like, "Oh, you're saying like I don't know how you say all this stuff. Like, it's incredible." I'm telling grown men and women out in public that men can't become women. There is literally nothing complex about it. I'm saying the most basic truths ever. So it's kind of funny that a 21-year-old girl is traveling the nation to tell people that like men shouldn't be in our bathrooms and stuff. So nothing I do is complex. It's so simple. But obviously it is a center of a lot of controversy right now.
When did you start becoming passionate about, women's rights, Title IX, and keeping men out of women's sports?
I think I always have been, and I've been pretty vocal about it in high school. I grew up near Chicago, so I went to a very liberal school. And once COVID hit, which that's a whole other thing, that really tipped me over the edge was COVID, and I had to do school online. And I'm hard of hearing. I wear hearing aids in both of my ears, actually. So I rely on lip reading for conversations. And when we had to wear masks in schools, obviously that was not going to work because I was in all the AP classes, the honors classes, where conversation was basically your entire class. So I couldn't go to school. I couldn't have conversations because it was all so I had to do online school. And because I was so mad at the school for making me be online since we had to wear masks, I got a big old Trump flag and I put it as my background in class. And then, that just stirred a lot of controversy. All my friends realized, oh, you're a Trump supporter. Like, oh, you're a bigot. I don't want to be associated with you anymore. I essentially lost all of my friends except for one, which is crazy looking back at it. All my friends, just because I voted for Trump, hated me. They didn't even want to be associated with me, deleted me from other social medias, texted me like, hey, we're not going to be talking anymore. And that really tipped me over the edge and kind of like threw me into the political side. I started watching a lot of
Wow.
So it's been a long time coming, if I'm being honest. So.
How old were you when all of your friends, would you say it was all of your friends or most of your friends that kind of decided, oh, she's for Trump, let's write her off?
So this was when I was 16, COVID hit. So around 16. I lost all of my friends, seriously, except for one. I'm not even being dramatic with that number, just one friend. It's crazy. But of course, I have new friends now. It's been incredible. God was just making space for the right people in my life. And it took me a while to notice that.
Wow. That is really commendable because myself and a lot of people watching the channel, we had a similar thing happen to us, but we were like, I don't know, like 20s, 30s. Like it's a bit easier to handle when you're older because you've just been alive longer. You've lost friends from other stuff over the years. So at 16 to have nearly all of your friends write you off because of politics is very extreme.
And not only my friends, but when everything happened at University of Cincinnati a year and a half ago now, I actually lost family members too, who essentially told me that I tore the entire family apart because of my political views, just for saying that my teacher was wrong for failing me. So I've lost too, and that's been incredibly difficult in ways that I can't even explain. To lose friends and family over politics is crazy.
What, like, you don't have to say, I mean, is it immediate family or
I'll say I have no problem talking about it. My uncle, so my cousin is wanting to be a girl, obviously.
Oh man,
it's impossible. But when I started speaking out on social media, apparently they took it as an attack to them, which it was not. I actually hadn't spoken to them in years, so it was weird to get a text saying that I tore the family apart and that I should be ashamed of what I'm doing, and then use the threat as, hey, I'm your godfather. Like, I love you more than anything, Olivia, but what you're doing is so harmful for the family. When in reality, you're saying that you're my godfather, using that against me to gaslight me, but you are the least godly person I know. To take your child to get hormones, to cut off body parts, that is not living by God. He created every person in perfect image. So to hear that was heartbreaking from a family perspective, but also from a biblical perspective.
Yeah, and it seems like there's just a lot of projection going on with these people. You're just saying a very common sense idea, and I think a lot of times when these people put that on you, like you're the one tearing the family apart. It's like, hey, you're the one who's wanting to, exactly like you said, chop off body parts. You have to be taken to therapists, doctors. You need to start on all these pharmaceuticals. That can't be easy for your parents and family to deal with. So I don't know. I wonder if a lot of times, like, they know that they're the ones kind of that are different, that are kind of making problems, and it's easier to put that on, other family members who I don't know. To me, it's obvious, like, who's right and who's wrong here. But
they live in their own world, unfortunately, and there's only so much we can do to try and save them. But the whole child gender mutilation thing is crazy to me. And that's another reason why I do what I do, because it's so important to fight for the minors who don't even have a voice. You never know what those parents are doing to those kids, unfortunately, especially in this day and age. So that's another reason why I do what I do. It's all tied in. The whole women's free speech, DEI, gender mutilation. Even when I was on University of Washington's campus, prior to doing the event, I was doing like man on the street style interviews. I would ask someone, should a 10-year-old be able to consent to a permanent tattoo? Of course, they would say no.
Mm-hmm.
The next question, should a 10-year-old be able to consent to permanent, life-altering, gender-reaffirming surgery? Yeah, of course, if that's what they need. It is hypocritical. You can't get a tattoo at 10, but you can cut off healthy, functioning body organs. Blows my mind. And then I asked, like, okay, what would be a good minimum age then if we had to like set one? Oh, they shouldn't be one. I was like, oh, but bodily piercings you have to be 18 for. Yeah, I think 18 is good for body piercings. Do these people not see what these surgeries are actually doing to kids? They think that it's life-saving. It's life-changing in a negative way. And no 10-year-old is ever going to know that. No parent is ever going to know that. No health professional who is saying that, oh yeah, your kid should be getting a surgery at 10 years old to cut off her breasts is life-changing. That is not a health professional. That is a greedy money maker. People do not realize that, and it's incredibly difficult to see.
It's really manipulative, and the whole, what was the phrase? Like, would you rather have an alive son or a dead daughter, or vice versa?
Right.
It's like that's something therapists use to kind of manipulate parents into going along with it, and it's super abusive because the studies actually show that you're more likely to be suicidal after these procedures than before, because you realize like the issue is in your head and it's not with your physical body. So
yeah, I mean, the whole sex reassignment surgery is the greatest medical scandal to ever exist in our society. I mean, look at like the detransitioners like Chloe Cole. She speaks up about it, and all of a sudden the trans community is against her because she's advocating for minors and letting them know that, hey, actually these surgeries aren't life-changing. In fact, they can ruin your life. So if she wants to have kids in the future, she might not be able to because of these surgeries she was convinced to have when she was younger. And the trans community has completely turned against her just for saying the truth. So this is a huge scandal, and it's so sad to see.
It is, and it's very sad that this issue has like touched you personally and your family. And if you look at Elon Musk, same thing. He got very passionate about the issue about, killing the woke mind virus because one of his children was trans and ended up completely writing him off. So it's a lot of times it's horrible when this stuff affects you directly in your own family, but it is kind of a blessing because then you can, use your life and your voice and your platform for this greater cause. And, I just hope they come around eventually and not to take your work so personally. I mean, that's happened with friends of mine too. It's like you say something that's not meant to be taken personally or tweet something, and then that person hears it. Oh, I thought that was a direct attack on me. It's like, no, if you begin to view the world that way, that like everybody is out to attack you, you'll see that everywhere you go. I wonder too, where have all the feminists of the 60s and the 70s gone who fought for women to have these rights and our own spaces and our own sports, basically? What happened?
If you ask a feminist what they are fighting for, they say for women's rights. But then you ask them what a woman is and they can't even tell you. You are not a real feminist if you are advocating for men to wear dresses and come into your locker rooms, in your sports, in your bathrooms. That is not feminism. I get called a TERF. Have you ever been called that?
Oh, yeah.
What is it? A trans exclusionary
radical feminist. Yeah.
Only feminist. Like, that is what a feminist is. So it's kind of crazy because trans women are just men, and advocating for them to be in your spaces is not feminist at all. That's not feminism. And they simply cannot see it.
Right. Like, how does that happen? Like, oh, I'm such a feminist. I've gone so far that I'm now defending like mentally ill men. Okay.
And in addition to where have the real feminists gone, where are the men? Where are the men stopping these pedophiles from going into our locker rooms and bathrooms? My dad certainly would not allow that to happen. But I got fortunate with a good dad. But where are the other masculine men out there who are supposed to be protecting their daughters, protecting their cousins, protecting their friends and family? Where do they go? Are they too afraid to speak up? Well, actually, that's probably what it is. They're too afraid to speak up, afraid of losing their jobs because of cancel culture. But I think that cancel culture is gone. I think we can use it as a good thing now. When you try to get canceled, speak up even louder. That's what I did. So I certainly hope we see an uprise in masculine men and real feminists now that we have Trump back in office.
Oh, yeah. And I think, maybe it's not necessarily the University of Washington, but if one of these schools were to lose their government funding, I think it would be a huge, it would be scary to maybe all the other schools, like, hey, like there's going to be some accountability for this. Like, you have to protect free speech on your campus, or Trump really will put his money where his mouth is. And that would be very cool to see, because there have been no consequences, and I doubt there's going to be any consequences for the protesters that actually go to that school. I think they probably just get, released right away, or they're wearing masks, or they never even get caught. I mean, I can't imagine much is really happening to them.
Yeah, it's crazy. They certainly will face no consequences, but I will do my best to make sure that someone faces consequences here, probably University of Washington. But that's obviously going to be a difficult journey. The whole legal process, it's very difficult just to make sure everything's done correctly. But yeah, the students certainly will probably get away with it, and we can't even identify them. But even 2 nights ago, a student from University of Washington actually shot and killed a Border Patrol agent. I don't know if you saw that.
No. Whoa.
Yeah. A student at University of Washington shot and killed one of the Border Patrol agents. That's just another issue at University of Washington. They are just, and you look at all the comments on that X post, and it's like, what is going on at that school? I wouldn't be surprised if that student was at my event protesting me. So whatever they're doing at University of Washington is wild.
Wow. I was going through, let me go through these comments again on Twitter. Hold on, because this was interesting. I think I actually saw on there was a professor in this thread. Oh, I wonder if I lost his
who spoke out.
Yes, yeah, there was a professor in here saying, like, he was actually condemning it. That was really cool to see. I wonder if it's on a different thread here.
We certainly need more of that. I messaged him, and I told him thank you for speaking out, because it is very rare for a professor or a coach or some sort of adult who has a job with the university to speak out against it, because typically they end up losing their jobs or facing some sort of consequences. So I told him to let me know if something does happen because of him speaking out, and we will certainly, take care of it in whatever way we can.
Wow. Some of these comments: the institutional capture of UW is predicated on throngs of drama queens. They are 100% projecting. Right now, the UW admin is living in an alternate reality. They are on the wrong, losing side of history. UW is discriminating against conservative and placing their students and guests in danger. I hope they become defunded. Got to find a way to get this into the court system. The left needs to be healed by the courts. Wow. How long in advance did you, or actually, was it you or Turning Point who set this talk up?
I don't know the exact date that it was set up or confirmed. Certainly a couple weeks before. But the videos that students were making about me for the protest, those were made like the week before. So there's some notice. Of course, I didn't think it would become violent, because typically at my events, I get like 5 or 10 people standing outside with a sign that says "Go home, bigot," and it's really not a big deal because they're too afraid to actually do anything. So I didn't expect it to turn into what it did.
Yeah. Geez. But you know what? That's my biggest takeaway from talking to you, is the students that go to this school, or any school that you speak at, that are just, they have a small voice in them saying, hey, you need to go to this event. You'll meet like-minded people. Like, you won't feel so alone. And they're the ones that get scared off and intimidated. Not you. You'll keep doing what you're doing and keep speaking out.
For
wow.
sure.
Okay, let's see. I'm also like really impressed that you can read lips. Like, how long have you
Kind of have
needed
so
to hear.
I was actually born with a hearing loss. I have a progressive hearing loss, so it's just gonna keep getting worse, unfortunately. But yeah, I do sign language. I also speak Spanish. Well, sort of. I'm technically trilingual. I took like the seal by literacy test in Spanish like a couple years ago. But yeah, so hopefully I don't lose all my hearing, but you never know. I could wake up tomorrow and it could be gone.
Can you do sign language in Spanish? Wait, never mind. It's all just sign language.
Like a Spanish sign language?
Yeah.
They have like British signed English. And like,
oh, really?
I don't do ASL. I do signed English. Like there's a difference.
Oh, wow.
ASL is like the popular thing now. I don't know it. I should know it, but I don't.
No,
I don't
you're very impressive. I barely have a handle on just English, and you can speak Spanish and sign language. Yeah, this is the video again. So who was recording all this? Was this you recording this?
No, that was Jonathan, the front
okay.
Yeah, he got some really good footage. Unfortunately, I ended up getting separated from everyone at one point, and I was just like in a room, so I missed a lot of what was happening. I had no idea what was happening at one point. I was just like in a room with an officer, wondering if I was gonna make it out. I was like, I have no idea. But he looked at everything.
How many police officers came to help you, or are they security guards, or they look like real police officers?
Yeah, there were 6 University of Washington security officers and then 4 private security officers. I assume they were like contracted on. Yeah, they obviously no arrests were made or anything, but I think they did what they could given the circumstances. It's not like they could just walk out into the crowd of 200 people who were being violent. I wouldn't want them to. I know it's their job, but I wouldn't want them to get hurt. I wouldn't want anyone to get hurt. So I think they did what they could in the moment, for sure.
I can't believe this guy just can't even put his Dr. Pepper down. He's like, like all right, put the soda down.
He was very nice. He's actually the one who got me out of the building.
Okay, we'll cut him some slack.
So you know what? They did their job. They got everyone home safely. It is what it is. Of course, if we had known it was going to be bigger, I'm sure they would have done something else. But they were trapped in the room with me, so you know.
Did you play any sports in college, or you said you did high school cross country?
Yeah, so I ran cross country and track the first semester of college, into the first semester of college, and then I had an injury, so I stopped. I actually recently ran a marathon in October.
Wow!
More off running. I said I was never going to run again, and then my uncle bet me $500 that I wouldn't do a marathon, so I went out and I ran a marathon all by myself.
Holy cow! Where did you do that?
I'm back into running, I guess.
Oh my gosh! Wait, did you do like just your own marathon, or did you do like an official one?
I was going to do the Columbus, Ohio, like Children's Hospital one, but they sold out of tickets, which I didn't know you could sell out like a charity event, but they did.
Wow!
And so I went out and ran for 26.2 miles all by myself. I actually ran a qualifying Boston Marathon time, which is kind of funny because I thought I was going to do so bad. So now I'm like, maybe I should run again and like actually qualify for the Boston, like at an actual event. But we'll see.
Wow, good for you. How long? What was your time?
It was 3:28.
Oh my god.
3:30. Yeah. So not incredibly fast, but fast enough. Good enough.
That's really fast. That's really impressive. Holy cow. Yeah, definitely keep running. I feel like runners have like this, I don't know. You guys are nuts. Like you need to for your own sanity.
Hey, that's what the left tells me, that I'm nuts. That I'm
crazy.
Right.
I'll just say you're nuts for running, not for any of your beliefs. No, good for you. That's awesome.
Yeah, thank you.
Wow. Did you did a little bit of cross country in college? Was this beginning to be an issue for you? Like, did you notice it at your own school, men joining women's sports, or not as much?
So I personally never had to experience it, but then again, this was like years ago that I was in school. So
yeah, obviously
it's more of an issue now. Not that it hasn't always been an issue, but on a much smaller scale. So now it's more of an issue. We're seeing it more across the board. Honestly, it would be crazy if I saw a man in my cross country meet, because I know I told you this earlier, but the slowest man on my team in high school was faster than the fastest girl in the nation. So that would be crazy for me to see. I don't even know how coaches stand by and allow their girls to be absolutely obliterated by these men. how do you as a coach champion your team to victory when you're just standing by and allowing men to completely destroy them in any sport, whether it's running or volleyball or basketball, whatever it is, you know?
They're afraid to lose their jobs. They're just completely like, oh, I don't know how this works. I just don't want to lose my job. And then they clam up.
Exactly. Yep.
That sucks. Yeah. I was a springboard diver in college a long time ago. I graduated, my gosh, 20 years ago. I feel old. But this was not even at all an issue. And if I had to dive against the men, I would have been absolutely obliterated. They can jump higher, they can flip faster, they can spin faster. It's like no question. So
it's crazy to see it. And I mean, these girls are getting hurt. Peyton McNabb, she was hit by the volleyball and she's still paralyzed to this day. So for people to say, oh, like there's only 10 trans athletes in sports, like it's not that big of a deal. Actually, it is. One trans athlete is enough to make a big deal. So I'm kind of tired of hearing that. One athlete makes a huge difference.
It's a cope. Yeah. It's like, oh, there's only like, what did they say? Like the illegals in Colorado, like they've only taken over a couple of apartment buildings. It's like the same reasoning.
So it's okay.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
We got a question from Vaughn Beowulf. Olivia, what do you think Barron Trump said to Biden at the inauguration?
I haven't actually had time to watch that video. That'd be I don't know.
Yeah. I saw it and I didn't see this clip. I'm gonna have to look for it though.
Yeah.
But probably something to the effect of like he should have done more podcasts or Kamala should have done more podcasts. That's my guess.
Oh goodness.
Are bad. Thank you for the yellow boy. You are pretty but mean. If gender change stops, it will result in self-end. Joe and Hunter Biden will end it if their supply of cut off parts dries up. We love Chrissy's awesome puppies. FDNY Station 55. Wow, a lot of thoughts there. Are bad.
I love it.
Thank you. What's up, Matthew Hammond? If considering a cochlear implant. Oh, I'm considering a cochlear implant. Get it soon. After hearing loss, you will have a better response, according to some that have gotten them.
Yeah,
Oh.
I certainly am nowhere near needing a cochlear. I'm fortunate to have enough of my hearing to be good. But yeah, I would hope that I'm even eligible for cochlears. So there's some people who don't respond to them at all. But yeah, that would suck if I had to get one.
How does that work?
So essentially, if you have any remaining hearing, they take it away to put in the cochlear. It's like they put like a magnet in your head and some sort of device, and you clip your hearing device onto your head. I don't know exactly how it works, but when you first get it put in, you have to like listen to a TV and listen to beeps, and those beeps eventually turn into noises.
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy how they come up with that, but hopefully I don't have to get to that point. We'll see.
Okay, let's see here. I have been sent a video from my producer saying, can Olivia lip read Trump and Obama at the Carter funeral? Oh God, do you get asked to do this all the time? This is like the episode of Seinfeld where they bring someone's date. One of them is dating a deaf girl and they bring her to a party to see what they're saying. Okay, so this start. All right, let's see. No pressure.
Okay.
But, start around the 1 minute 40.
It's a little easier to lip read people that I know and I'm used to talking to, but I'll give it a go.
Okay, let's see. Where does this begin? 1 minute and 40 into the video. Are you sure? Because this video is only 1 minute and 11 long. So maybe you meant 40 seconds.
You said no, the video's that long, but you can start at the start. I got that.
Okay, let's see here. Should I put it in slow motion? I'll just play it. I'm gonna play it without the
I have no idea. It's so blurry I can't even see their lips. I have no idea. I can't even see their lips.
We don't know. We can't see their lips. This is too, yeah, they have to be probably closer up. It is blurry.
I'm actually going to look that up after this and try to figure it out. That's kind of funny.
That would be you could make a YouTube channel just reading people's lips.
Right. I think there's a couple of TikTokers that do that. It's kind of funny. But they make like stupid videos, like totally not what they're saying.
Oh yeah, and then there's this guy, I think his channel's John Boy. He ended up working for the Yankees. He can read lips on like the refs and the players, so he has funny content because they're mostly just cursing each other out.
Of course.
But very cool. Wow. What colleges are you going to be visiting next, Olivia?
Ooh, I have University of Dayton, Indiana River State, I think it's called, Northern Kentucky. Goodness, there's so many. I'll be posting it on my social media when the events pop up. I think I'm meeting with my group like this week to determine exactly what schools I'll be going to. Now that there's a lot more requests coming in because of everything that happened. But
really?
Yeah, because now they like want the controversy, which I kind of get. But so if you do have a Turning Point group, anyone, or any conservative group or Republican group, doesn't have to be at a school, but you can request me as a speaker, and I would love to come out. Hopefully I won't get Antifa protested out, but yeah, I would love to go speak at more schools. But I'll be posting on my socials like what schools I'm going to next.
Okay. Wow. Awesome. Olivia, thank you so much for coming on. I'm such a fan of you. You truly are brave for doing what you're doing. And all this controversy is just going to get you more and more support and raise your profile. So just thank you so much for coming on today and telling everybody your story. Let me make sure I got, we did that. Oh, here's one more super chat. Thank you, as always, Chrissy. Huge admiration for Olivia for the courage to try and speak the truth where there are a ton of histrionic leftists. Yep.
Oh my goodness. I love your supporters. They're so nice. I wish I had that. I used to hate comments. But
you will. They'll get there. They're just I get a lot of hate too. Just like not in the chat.
Thank you so much for having me on and doing what you do. It's important to have podcasts and different shows to kind of get our stories out because otherwise we go nowhere. So thank you for everything that you do.
Yes, come back and give us an update in a little while.
Absolutely will. Yeah.
If anything happens with the University of Washington, that'd be very exciting. Thank you, Olivia. Good luck to you. God bless you. Stay safe, and we'll talk to you again.
Appreciate it.
Bye.
Bye.